welcome back to the State Farm Analyst Zone, where Supermassive are in a tough spot as they are down 1-2 against Evos in this series. It is a best of 5, which means that this could very well be the last game of the series. A very tough spot to be in for Supermassive.
Absolutely, and with the way the games are tracking right now, Evos certainly have to shoot into being favorites of this, and I, for one, would not have guessed that, because their performance so far, I think, has exceeded so many people's expectations.
And it came down to the fact that we kind of built Supermassive up. Their pillars were just on the fact of the individual performances. And individually, they're getting smack spawn. They're getting demolished.
You guys are as disappointed, I think, in your own predictions as you are in the play of Supermassive. So let's go down the line and kind of compare what we expected to happen to what has actually happened. First off, aggression, combined kills per minute, and just the action that Evos is putting on the Rift. Whenever they do that, they thrive. And that's how they've gotten 2 wins in a row.
And I think this is where so much of our disappointment comes from, because we were the LPL casters. We were the people trying to sell the world on aggressive League of Legends working.
Yeah.
We looked at this lineup and we said, are they aggressive? It's a little bit, brainless. They're just running everywhere. We doubted them, and now they're coming in and they're making that gameplay work. Yeah,
a lot of it comes down to the fact that it's getting into some people's heads, specifically GBM's going for a lot of the dives. He's taking the aggression to them because naturally you saw him throughout the tournament. He's been finding a lot of those plays, so he has been an aggressive aspect to this team, but a lot of it comes down to the fact that I felt like while certain smart plays are being made, he's, as I already talked about, getting in his own head, and it's costing him.
And I think the thing that Supermassive did well coming into this was their control over objectives. When they had a good early game, they were able to go towards Dragon, pick those up, that creates a window, go towards Baron. And this series, it just doesn't seem to be going that way.
Well, it's going pretty well if we look at the statistics there. The Drake and Baron percentages, if we put that in straight numbers, 4-8 Dragons in favor of Supermassive, 3-2 Barons, though, in favor of Evos. But it seems that the discrepancy in the objective control is just not big enough in favor of Supermassive to go up against all the kills and all the push and all the tempo that is coming out of Evos.
Yeah, exactly right. And one team is using Dragons to try and build on something, and Evos are kind of ignoring it and taking something elsewhere. And then when Evos does fight, it's definitely turning into a fight because Supermassive doesn't want to give them up, and it's creating windows for Evos to attack this team.
Yeah, and this game around, or at least the last game that we just saw, it was actually Evos building a strong 2v2 in the mid lane with the composition that they've had to allow them to get the first punch out. So it seems like this time around, Evos has had the mentality that their mid lane is going to be the point of strength, that they can get those objectives.
Raz, let's look at a couple of replays of that mid lane, because as you hinted at already, is GBM getting too much in his own head? Because he just goes in whenever he can, and it is backfiring. It's biting him in the ass.
Well, yeah, it definitely is. He was waiting on a certain character that was coming to bite someone else, but it was way too far behind. That's the difference there. He just went straight for it without the trundle coming in with the pillar.
Yeah, absolutely. And when I look down the lineup of this, I think, Vladimir, tanky Maokai in top lane, we're starting to stack up some Dragons. I just don't think you need to be pushing the tempo of the game to this degree. And he gave over so many kills to Cassiopeia that in the late game, you could not ignore her. She was huge.
Yeah, as we take a look at that replay brought to you by Acer Predator, was this a totally different game if GBM wasn't feeding so many kills in the mid lane?
Ooh, I would say so. I think that GBM actually got a really strong lead for himself in the first point, because even though Graves got the kill on the opposite side, this was like 3 minutes in when Graves got the kill, but it was actually GBM that struck first because Warzone presented himself a little bit too freely. So if he would have been able to stand firm within his own lane, even just kind of creating an even point, Vladimir is super good into that matchup later on in the game.
Absolutely, and it gives him another option, because when you look at down the barrel of a Cassio Tristana comp, the last thing you want to do is bring 5 members into that. And I think that if he had have maintained that league, potentially you can go to a 1-3-1, you can try and split up the map, do all the things we said Supermassive should be doing. Yes. And instead, he just made so his team had to 5v5 team fight.
And we got to think about that mental game. The shots fired in the beginning, Warzone saying he's like a Diamond 2 in Korea, GBN, I want to beat them 3-0. And even though Warzone hasn't been the absolute superstar of why Evos has been winning, the fact that he's holding his own and striking at the right moments, Raz, is why this is going so well for him. And I would say I would give him the advantage in this matchup so far.
Yeah, definitely. The Victor matchup was great for him because he was actually holding in the lane with not many resources at all. So the resources is what mattered here. And on top of that, he's been having really good backing from YiJin. I think YiJin has been doing an incredible job of keeping him upright in lane when he hasn't been falling forward. So I think so far, yes, Warzone's been doing incredibly well. YiJin's been phenomenal this set. And those are the two players that I want to look towards going into the next game.
Absolutely. Let's also take a look at a couple of picks that have been the most influential so far. We wanted to look at Vladimir, Ornn, and Trundle. And that Trundle has been good for both sides. But as you mentioned, YiJin there, he came out this game with the unreal counter pick on Graves and dominated the game off that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I like that we're going in this circle because we had tanks, so Trundle comes out. All of a sudden, Trundle, you pick range into it. And we said we weren't a huge fan of the Kindred. The Graves did much better this time around. And all three of these champions are shaping the draft because it looked like when fabFabulous had engaged, the game was much better for Supermassive. And now that Vladimir is being blind picked, Cassiopeia rising back because it goes toe-to-toe in the lane. Just a little tweak in a draft completely has sent this game into its own meta. And
it's interesting because it was a call-out. At first, I was wondering, because GBM has a large champion pool, and I was wondering if he was going to dig deep in towards like the Xerath. That's just like as a question mark because he can go range in towards it, the Azir perhaps into the Cassiopeia, because it was the Cassiopeia being a call-out. It was literally Evos saying, we believe you're going to go Vladimir because you've gone it so often. Even if you go into a bad matchup, you'll pick it.
And it's not even that. I think that there was a tendency to default back to Supermassive, and it always is one of those things that if you get Cassiopeia plus any form of like aggressive jungler, you generally win the 2v2 matchup. So I think they read the play was going to come from Supermassive of they're going to try and play around GBM, and that 2v2 just was always going to be in their favor.
Yes.
Evos playing their game, YiJin in that great tradition of Vietnamese junglers absolutely stepping up. So this brings us now at a possible match point for Evos, a possible place in the MSI group stage. And cast your mind back to last year at MSI, Supermassive lost 3-1 to Vietnam and the Gigabyte Marines. Then, so analysts, what's going to happen next? Can Supermassive bring us to Game 5?
I think so. I think so. I am not going to jump off their sinking ship just yet. My feet are getting wet and trying to bail it out really quickly. But I think they would have a read. They have to play a slower game plan if they are going to win. I think it'll go to Game 5. But right now, Evos must be considered the favorites.
I will say this. When I first started off, I said keep an eye on YiJin. That was my caveat. That was the only thing.
Like, my whole prediction is wrong.
I was wrong.
I told you that this jungler was going to show up. Listen to me.
That's why, to preface it, I know you're laughing. I also think it'll go to Game 5.
Yep.
Right.
But I just believe that it'll be...
He's real good.
I think Evos will come out ahead.
He's real good. Evos is pretty good. This unwavering support for Supermassive. I don't know where it's coming from because it's Evos who is calling the shots. Let's see if they can close out the series in Game 4. Drakos, take it away.
Thank you very much, Shox. One thing I want to bring up again.
Raz didn't flip-flop.
Raz didn't flip-flop.
Didn't he?
First off, good on you. I mean, kind of, yeah, but it was less of a flip-flop. Good job, Raz. Other thing I want to talk about, last year, Shox already said it, 3-1. Supermassive has been here before, backs against the wall, and we just saw the members of Evos on stage. They're happy. They're laughing. They're smiling. But you know Supermassive has to be feeling the pressure in this situation.
Oh, absolutely. And I think GBM, because he knows what happened in that last game was a lot his fault. You lose the mid lane, that lost them top lane. YiJin already got an advantage off of being aggressive, and then it just spilled over to the rest of the map because of the way that GBM played.
Now, I will say as we get into this Game 4 draft as well that we've discovered through this best of 5 series and through most of the MSI play-ins that you can't really blind pick jungle. It's really difficult to blind pick that role when there's counters available. Through this set, we've seen the counters be successful. So the Graves is an example in that last game. But every team is selecting blue. Supermassive has selected blue in this one. And what's that first pick going to be?
Well, it's not going to be a Trundle because they have taken it off the board. Don't want to deal with it. Don't want to try to find a counter pick against it. Just get it out of there. And that means the Olaf is up and available.
Because they already took away 2 of the top tier junglers, the Skarner and the Trundle. So Olaf is the one that jumps down, it's right below that in the tier list in terms of aggressive junglers. So this will give Stomaged a pretty good matchup, but there are some things you can still play into it. Graves, I think, is actually still okay. Not as dominant in the matchup, and can't really match the clear speed can match the clear speed, but it's just more, I think, still Olaf favored come mid-game.
And now we see on the opposite side, Evos, they don't get the jungle priority pick, but they do get the Ornn. Once again, the Des talked about how key it was. And Warzone, getting his hands on that Cassia one more time.
Yeah, he's going to have a super strong pick in the Cassiopeia. It was comfortable. Perhaps the Vladimir doesn't actually come out as a response for the first time, and that's always potentially a mid-lane karma here for GBM into the Cassiopeia. And whilst we see Supermassive's picks, I always wonder if something like a Lee Sin comes out of an Eastern jungler into the likes of an Olaf. Just throwing that one randomly out there.
Yeah, Lee Sin did get some buffs. Right here, though, you expect the Caitlyn to come through as just that top tier that's kind of when Kai'Sa's banned away. But the interesting thing about this draft is that's a flex pick Karma. Karma Caitlyn could be a very impressive lane for SnowFlower and Zeitnot. So this actually affects your bans in the phase 2, because if Evos are throwing bans at things like Thresh, making sure SnowFlower doesn't get that, it means that when they flex it, you actually just wasted some bans.
And now Evos entering the second ban phase without picking a jungler, which could put them in a tough spot if that's where Supermassive want to put their attention. For now, though, they're banning out the Morgana, taking away some of those options up against the Alistar to look apparently comfortable playing up against the Karma in the bottom lane, still willing to ban those supports away.
I actually think they ban Morgana and Thresh here to ban them away from SnowFlower, and then that's where you really have to go, is this a flex pick from the Karma? Because otherwise you just wasted 2 bans. They're expecting it to be mid lane here.
Yeah, perhaps even forcing it to mid lane, of course, with those bans. You know what your mid lane matchup will be already. It's not the worst thing to pick a Cassiopeia into a Karma anyway, so you should be okay. It's just about that mid lane control, mid lane priority. It's an Olaf and a Karma that could work in tandem.
And we can see that the continued hatred for the Ornn into GP matchup is alive and well for Stark. They banned it last game as well. And the Ezreal going to follow here. So Slay running out of options in terms of comfort picks. See what they want to go for. Of course, Tristana still up and available. Maybe they go for that one more time.
Yeah, may go back to the Tristana, but the Varus is a very good pick into the Caitlyn. But like we said before, his Varus win rate is actually not very high, only 25%. May go somewhere else. And hey, the Graves once again for YiJin.
YiJin liked what happened last game. He's ready for the rinse and repeat. He says, yeah, I don't really care what champion you pick. I'm going to get a lead again. I'm going to kill everybody. And to be fair, fantastic performance. I don't know if it's going to work as well, though, without the same setup he got last time.
I mean, Olaf does have a faster clear. There's always a chance that you could find the Olaf, but it's a bit harder to do when there's more camps that he could go towards, a bit more variable in his builds. Good to see what's remaining here from Supermassive, as Evos actually held their AD carry pick for the composition.
Interesting, too. The Shen now coming in as well as the Karma. Feels like Supermassive have set up to play around Zeitnot on the bottom side. And this is the pick you mentioned, Zyrene. You thought this would be banned away, but SnowFlower getting his hands on that Thresh for the first time this tournament.
And that's why they kept their AD carry for last pick here, because they want to know exactly what the bottom lane is. The Karma's flex to mid. Thresh for SnowFlower comes out. It can work very well against the Alistar. If you are on point with your flays, you can stuff all of those headbutts and make sure that you're having a good time. And right now, it looks like a bottom lane focus for Supermassive.
As predicted at the start of the day, this time clearly telegraphing it. The Karma, the Thresh, 2 supports there to back up the damage output of Zeitnot later in the game, as well as that comfort jungler for Stomaged.
And they finish it off with an Ashe for Slay, something that is often seen into specifically the Caitlyn matchup. With a non-lane centric, you would say there's not going to be push, coming out of SnowFlower. It's potential kill threat for sure. You can control that 2v2 with an Alistar and an Ashe because you hold the 1v1 between AD carries. Jungle influence is the only real breaking point there. I think that Slay and RonOP can actually hold their own here with that last pick. And it provides engage for the composition other than just the Ornn.
And another thing I love about this Ashe is when I was watching Supermassive's games, when they get a slight lead and they do the Baron, Hawkshot will shut that down because you're just going to keep throwing it over and over again. If they have vision control of the area, which has been their forte, you're going to be able to spot that Baron and when they're baiting it, when they are.
Simultaneously shores up some of the vision weaknesses on the side of the VCS team. Evos. Handshake between the coaches, potentially the last time as we go into game 4.
And as we look at these drafts, Supermassive, bottom lane focus. The Shen can go to the bottom side. The Karma can go to the bottom side. You flip it over to the VCS, though, for Evos. This is one where, once again, YiJin has the controls. He can go to whatever lane that he wants to and kind of spill over from there. So I'm watching the Graves once again.
Yeah, it's about freeing up the bottom lane here for the VCS side, unlocking their potential to engage, to utilize the rest of the draft. And that does revolve around the jungle, revolves around the mid lane even in Warzone, and that can all leak towards top.
And when it comes down to match point, when it comes down to game 4, Supermassive once again bet on their bot side focus. And Evos ready to try to shut it down, ready to try to mix it up. The Graves, the terrifying Graves pick in the hands of YiJin. Uncontested in the draft. We'll see if it works out as well this time.
Yeah, expecting him to get up in Stomage's face very early on in this game, especially since right now, in terms of the lanes, you would expect Supermassive to have priority mid with Karma early, and then you expect the Ornn to at least kind of seed the lane early. So when YiJin does go for an invade, it won't be favored for him, but I still expect him to go for something like that because of the style.
Yeah, it's actually super good to have Grasp of the Undying as Shen into Ornn for the level 1 strength. You have the taunt, so of course you can stand there next to him, get the procs off. You should be able to win the trades, particularly at level 2 as well. And while Stark should always have push, not that early. It's a couple rotations of spells. You can win that lane as Shen, and you can unlock Stomaged.
Yeah, and fabFabulous, last time he played this matchup, he had actually taken the Conqueror into the Ornn for the 1v1, but he's actually very much so respecting Stark and saying, I don't need to kill him, and I probably can't kill him, but I'm just going to go ahead and play for the team, play for the bottom side of the map, and go back to the strategy that had been working for Supermassive. Slow things down, play to the bottom side, allow Zeitnot to carry, and they have shields to allow him to do that.
Have to see the execution here in the early game. Of course, talked about the junglers being important. Supermassive investing a lot to track Graves' early pathing. And you can understand why when you look at YiJin's numbers from the previous game. This time he is going to get a leash on the top side from the Ornn, but oh yeah, folks, that's a 40 CSD on a jungler.
I mean, he was 4 levels up. He was the highest level in the game at one point. That's insane to see from a jungler. Like, that's my boy right there. I'm going, as a jungle main, that's what I like to see on the stage, because so often we're kind of the secondary wards, we're the secondary supports, we're the tanks. It's like, I like to see the diversity coming through and have a successful showing.
Yeah, it was all about him as well, taking the objectives by himself as needed. Went for the early Infernal Drake while the rest of his team was fighting. And what more would you want from a Vietnamese jungler other than unbridled aggression and the self-interest of a jungler that the team works around incredibly well?
Wow, so that ward from earlier.
Yeah, paying off dividends at this point. SnowFlower, Zeitnot have to be careful.
Yeah, they know that he's there, and they just hit level 2 on SnowFlower and Zeitnot. They're waiting for level 2 on RonOP so that he can go in.
Headbutt Pulverize. There it is. YiJin on the backside. He's going to move into the middle of the team. Ooh, Guardian does SnowFlower! What a predict! He says, you got your comfort pick, I got mine. Give me that first blood.
And that's just a dead Graves as well immediately at level 2. That's a red buff to SnowFlower. May not be Zeitnot, but that's control of the lane. They just win that out.
And now Stomaged is going to get all of this jungle here, at least get this blue buff, but no, they're going to push him away. That is really well done there from EVS. The fact that they're making sure that even though YiJin died, he's not going to lose the maximum for it. They're protecting it. JVM blew the TP to try and make something happen there.
Didn't see him
Oh,
got
Hex
that.
Flash.
Zeitnot. Ashe looking for the slowdown. Going with the headbutt on the creep, trying to taxi his way in there. The Ignite is there. SnowFlower now moving in. He has the red buff. Good damage coming from this Thresh if the fight extends, but Warzone is there to back him up. Every advantage Supermassive just got getting thrown away in the overextend.
Yeah, Supermassive are still going to be ahead about 600 gold, though, because of the farm that they picked up and because of the fact that it was a first blood, too. So they get something back. You still have to salvage the jungle situation, though, and you're going to see that YiJin's going to catch up a bit.
And credit to Warzone for being there to get the kills as well. Staying in the jungle, he sees someone going for the Scuttle Crab, cancels his recall to stop that, but then uses that momentum. Well, I'm already here, go straight towards the bottom lane. The real winner is definitely still Stomaged, but YiJin's still with a fighting chance because the team's able to work around it.
Yeah, this TP from GBM that makes everybody pull off. I love just the way they play defensively, and that hook. Oh, man. SnowFlower finally gets the Thresh.
What did we say?
I thought I'd never want to play support again. That man right in that moment made me want to play support. That was crisp.
That's one where he's up against the wall, so he just throws it alongside the wall. The only way you avoid that is a flash,
You can flash
to the
back,
right.
yeah, back into our territory. You
Yeah.
can flash. Either way, you're going down. And, you know, we didn't see SnowFlower get his hands on this pick for the longest time. Now does get it, and I think that's exactly the kind of confidence play you want if you're members of Supermassive. Our player gets his best champion and starts killing people with it. That has to make you feel good when your back is against the wall and your opponents are on match point.
He got it once during the regular split, so the group stage rather, won with it as well. Looked incredible on it on top of that. And that was the moment, you know, everyone was saying ban his Thresh. Now, okay, is it actually that? Yes, it's actually that good. And now you get it again, and he doesn't miss the hooks.
And just moments away from getting the trap down as well. SnowFlower and Zeitnot confidently in control of the bottom lane. We know the Ashe and the Alistar are there to set up the engages potentially for somebody else, but the Graves falling behind means they're not quite getting the same level of attention they got in the previous game.
Yeah, the Graves are going to have to play catch-up himself and go through the jungle and try to just constantly clear. He's down a level right now. Stomaged up and ahead, so the Graves won't have that same type of impact. We'll try to go for a little bit of the contest in the river, though. We'll see what happens, but Stomaged wins pretty much all 2-on-2s and 3-on-3s.
Oh, SnowFlower is going to get engaged on. Warzone around, but not in the best spot. RonOP just trying to buy space for his AD carry the last hit. But I got to say, Warzone being very active in getting out of this mid lane, laying down a little bit of vision, kind of checking out, and really letting the team know where Stomaged is.
And doing what his jungler can't do effectively, right? Not just doing it because he can, but he knows that the Graves can't help. He's on the opposite side of the map. They're worried about being dove, and rightly so. There was a big minion wave crashing down. And Warzone, very smart and very aware of the state of the map, able to actually help that out.
And he's going to have to keep that up because if GBM has that teleport, and if Warzone wants to answer any of the roams that come through, he's going to have to be on top of his game. If he can get a lead in this mid lane and use that kill that he got earlier to pressure GBM, then they're in a really good spot to win the middle of the map for EVS and then transition that to other lanes.
Here comes the Predator. YiJin, not sure if he wants to take this fight. He's going to dash, misses the axe. That's going to be big there. Stomaged has to back off. Warzone ready to spawn. And as we check in on the mid lane, you can see the kill. Definitely going to help for the Cassio. Oh, to hold that thought. SnowFlower.
TP.
Back. TPs are coming in. They may be looking for that early fight. Shen ultimate is there. They're going to try to start this one off. Keep your eyes on that Ornn ulti. Where's it going to go? Knocks up 2 members. Slay over the wall. Is going to take YiJin in a great spot. Warzone with the ultimate. Ornn from out of nowhere. Coming in clutch to win this one out. Taking out the Shen 2.
That is a disaster for Turkey. Vietnam comes up huge. Stark's TP changes everything.
So clutch from all of them individually, and it makes you wonder, you know, that it looked good for Supermassive at the start, but how quickly that turns around from just the mechanical ability of their opponents.
And honestly, just a beautiful play. Instantly blown wide open. This replay brought to you by Acer Predator and the TP you highlight, Zyrene.
It's so early as well, and Supermassive keep committing. So Stark gets 2, then he gets 2 again, and it's so much damage. This is an Ornn that slaughters the fight, and even though fabFabulous went for the backline, it doesn't matter there. They clean up 4 for 1 in that fight.
Yeah, even Warzone getting the flash ultimate as well into the enemy carry. Full awareness of how that fight was going. Compliments of Stark. And we said this in Champ Select when he picks Ornn. He teleports first. He is always there first. And he does the damage because of that.
Let's talk about Ornn base damage. Let's talk about beautiful team fighting. Stark on point on this champion. They talked about it on the desk. Key pick in this series. Stark gets his hand again. He gets to make that excellent play. And honestly, moments ago is Stomaged. He's in total control, and now YiJin's right back in the game.
And Stark is just such a funny story about him because when we first saw him last year on the Gigabyte Marines at MSI, he came in and people were like, this guy's only played competitive League of Legends for like 2 months, started in March right before the tournament. And even before that, it's like he had only played for a few months in terms of League of Legends in general. So he was crushing people, and I remember fabFabulous, his opponent, being like, this guy, I can't believe he's only played for so long. Because for so short a time, because he's so good at the game. And now we're seeing it a year later. He has a lot of these TP mechanics down. He's understanding all of the intricacies of how to play the top lane, and he is this enormous carry for them. I mean, he even went into retirement for like a month.
Yeah, well, he keeps retiring for the shortest amount of possible times here, Zyrene. But he's back once again. He's on the main stage once again. Stomaged now looking.
Get something back. CC is there, chaining it down on a SnowFlower. They're going to try to take him out. SnowFlower ignited and is going to fall. Slay not hesitating. They're going to trade 1 for 1. Now they have the man advantage. Slay just going to walk it out, but
real aggressive, actually. And top.
fabFabulous. The CC is going to start to come in. Spirit's Refuge not going to help against the magic damage of that Cassio. Auto attacks only.
Oh, he's burning down for the red.
He's trying to heal and can't get it. Action across the map. Kills traded back and forth, and YiJin exactly where he's needed to bring it home for the team.
There's so much extra damage from the red smite that a lot of those fights just get turned because of it. We see it come up big there. YiJin, 2-1 and 2. Once again, another fantastic game.
Yeah, and it all starts on the bottom side of the map as well. Before all of this, really well done from YiJin. Point blank, of course, with all of the spells to secure that. Stomaged knew that there was a challenging smite on him, hoping to heal perhaps from hitting the ward. Not to be seen. There was a fight in bottom lane. Slay flashes aggressively forwards to secure the kill, secure the trades, and that was what was left afterwards. A massive victory for Evos.
And we've said it time and time again throughout this series. I feel like a broken record, but when Evos gets the game pace going, that's the game that favors them. We saw Supermassive. They got first blood. Then it's turned around. Evos constantly having the fights, and then you can't keep up with the pace. We see Supermassive falling behind.
And last game, it was GBM getting over-aggressive that got this ball rolling for Evos. This time, it is all about Stark coming down, getting this team started. He knows his team can keep the tempo going if he gets them started, and it works out beautifully across the board.
Yeah, the fact that the team play from Evos works from mid to jungle and to top lane, they can all cascade together. If one falls down, the other one can pick them up. You're seeing legitimate team play from a side that when you watch their finals, you're like, I mean, they're aggressive. They're all over the shop. They don't really slow the pace of the game down. They don't set up for things. Well, they don't need to set up for things if they're just all on the same page. It's working out brilliantly.
Absolutely is. Of course, one shining light for Supermassive. The big damage sore, Zeitnot. 0, 2, and 3. Yes, he's behind the Ashe and Gold because of all the kills and assists the Slay has managed to pick up, but the farm is coming through. He is ahead in CS. It is a small advantage for sure, but it is something. This arrow.
It hits. Oh. That was amazing. That was right on target as well. That's just the flash expended. No teleport even there for GBM.
That would have been huge. GBM wouldn't have been able to flash. They would have been able to put the grounded on him. And looked like Stark was roaming with ultimate too.
Here's the thing, guys. GBM, normally the one proactively moving around, but he is living under his tower this game. He went from diving 24/7 as the Vladimir, sometimes ill-advised, to hiding here.
Oh, not again.
Another Hex Flash. Luckily, they have the vision there, but sadly, GBM has been invisible. Luckily, mid-jungle, both there in the mid lane.
And you can really tell that his aggression has been tempered, not just from him as a player in this game, but even from the draft, going for the Karma. But speaking of aggression, they're looking.
Yeah, and he's the only person on his team that hasn't died, so he's reeling it back, saying, you know what, I'm not going to have that happen again. I've learned from my mistakes. But his team is now making a lot of the mistakes that he did before.
And this is a problem still for them because he's the Karma and the Caitlyn's behind. That's the other damage carry.
Oh, Stomaged right there. Warzone going to be in a tough spot. Shen ulti is coming out. They stand united, but fabFab goes in all on his lonesome. The ultimate, the stun. The CC's going to come in. Shen's not going to be able to push any buttons. Is he going to get taken down? Yes! RonOP comes in to save the day.
And as we just said that the team is suffering from the issues that GBM did last game, it happens. fabFabulous comes in, he flashes the chase, and he's not able to get the kill. Too much aggression, and right here, this might be another case.
SnowFlower does get it. The trap goes down immediately. They take out the AD carry, but YiJin is here. He may want to turn this one back. They're trying to get through SnowFlower. They are going to take him down. RonOP running for his life. Reckless Swing will come up. True damage will bring this kill home, but RonOP is still running. Stomaged is going to take him out.
And super good awareness from Supermassive on the opposite side. They tracked it. They knew they were going to go forward. SnowFlower does not miss those hooks. And he goes straight on to Slay, knowing full well they were going to stand still and try and deliver onto him. We get to see what happens here with the Cassiopeia as well. And dodging the taunts, what you have to look for.
I do wonder what the thought process was from Warzone going that direction, but right there, just barely gets away. Even Slay throws a heal at him just in case. He's like, you know what? If something happens, if, you know, thunder comes down from the sky, something happens randomly in the game, at least he's safe.
With this hook from SnowFlower, exactly where it needs to be, the boxes there. He knew he was going to get comboed, and he chooses not to play the Alistar out of that. Instead, he wants the kills onto the opponents. Very successful from them as a counterplay, where EVS go a little bit too far.
Absolutely the case. And Zeitnot, of course, pairing up very nicely with SnowFlower. You see the disappointment when the initial play goes against them, but Zeitnot and SnowFlower coordinating well on that Thresh hook, making sure they get the maximum there in terms of kills. Once again, it does not get them out of this 2.4K gold deficit, but it is a start. It is the Caitlyn getting a little bit more under her belt in terms of golden items.
Yeah, and fabFabulous there on the player cam. This has to be such a stressful series for him. This is a revenge series up against Stark from last year with the Gigabyte Marines versus Supermassive, the 3-1 series. And so far, Fabulous' scorelines have been 1-6 in one of their games. He went 1-6 in the last game, and now he's 1-3 to start this game off. And you can see YiJin is just having a field day in the jungle.
I mean, look at the CS. We took a break to look at the bot lane CS. We go, ooh, Supermassive, nice. And then we take a look at the jungle CS. YiJin.
Remember the plus 40 at 15 minutes? It's about to be 15 minutes, and it's around that plus 60 area. YiJin died.
Oh. Sidestep. They're going to fight coming in. They're going to kill both of them. Hunting for the Olaf. YiJin, no flash available. fabFabulous, so the one in trouble. He's the sacrificial Shen. GBM wants to save him. He doesn't have enough shielding.
He just blasts them, and he's far ahead in farm.
Warzone's right here. GBM needs to run. He's walking through Graves because it's the better option. Oh no, the knockup is there. This is disastrous for Supermassive. EVS just picking him off.
And they give the kill over to YiJin, and he's going to take the Wolves on the way out. He's taking everything. He's 2 levels up. Remember, this guy died level 2 and struggled to pick up his jungle, but that's the only death he's had all game.
He's now out farming his top laner. He's chasing his mid laner in CS as well. This guy takes everything. Look after your firstborn as well.
Oh, he takes those second blues. He takes everybody's lives on the map. I am loving this.
I mean, the Shen TP in there was brave. Let's be honest. That Graves probably would have dived there if he had a flash. And, guys, we've said this. And YiJin just continuing the trend of Vietnamese junglers. It doesn't matter if it's a local stage. It doesn't matter if it's international. It doesn't matter where they play. These guys are insane at the jungle role.
Yeah, frankly, it's good to see another one come through, right? You lose Levi, you're like, oh no, is this it?
Yeah.
But here comes the third coming of the aggressive junglers on the international stage.
And that's been a big worry, is people going, oh, Gigabyte Marines, as soon as the Vietnam region got made into its own tournament that went right to MSI, people were saying, oh, well, Levi left and went to North America. Gigabyte Marines are going to be garbage now. It's like, that was the only good team. Evos is saying, no, that is not the case, that they deserve the respect, that Vietnam as a region is powerful, and that they need to be respected because they are producing talent constantly, and YiJin has come up all right now, and we're seeing another one of those prodigies.
And they beat them to get here.
Yep.
Absolutely taken down. New Gigabyte Marines lineup, new Evos lineup looking so powerful. And this is an organization that's been praised in Vietnam for its structure, for having the support structure, for trying to do it, you know, all the way top down. Not looking for anything sketchy, just wanting to bring home high quality organization, support staff to support the team, and it's paying off. You can see how well coordinated they are, and on top of that, the individual talent to boot is just so good.
3 levels up now for YiJin. It's just well, Stomaged is almost. We were almost level 10.
We've been here. Guys, this is deja vu. The only difference is GBM's flat. Now looks like a Karma.
Oh.
Now looks dead.
Once was a Karma, unfortunately has since passed away. Pressure in the mid lane as well. It's not just YiJin that's ahead, it is Warzone. He was the one that kicked this all off in the first place. And it's not just one turret they're looking for, it's 2.
And this is where desperation is going to kick in for Supermassive. They're going to start flailing, trying to figure out how to deal damage control and make sure that they can stop losing this game. But right now, Evos, they're snowballing effectively.
Ornn coming in, maybe looking for the disengage. SnowFlower over the wall, not going to get caught out. But guys, Supermassive had to be hopeful. They had to be thinking, this is where we can come back. We can bring it to game 5. But right now, Evos are making this look like a pub stomp. These guys are crushing. These guys are tearing through the opposition.
Here comes all of them.
Evos now looking. The flash out already. Immediately, Warzone in the middle of everything. So much damage. Warzone is going to get taken down, but the Graves is alive and well. GBM on the backside. Slay looking for a way into the fight, but Zeitnot is uncontested. Heading home on to start. Getting the damage down. The tank line is going to fall. GBM protecting the team. fabFabulous on the front line. RonOP trying to buy a little bit of space. YiJin not sure if he wants to move in or out, and they're giving kills over to Zeitnot. He's now on the hunt, looking for a bit more. The Ashe trying to disengage, but the Defiance from Karma speeding him up. Are they going to keep going for the chase? Supermassive, can they extend this play a little bit further? Doesn't look like it.
I don't think it's worth going forward for, especially when there's an Ocean Drake on the table. That's something that they could pick up if they wanted to. But they're going to go for the turret pressure instead on this bottom side. Finally get a first turret for themselves.
And you were seeing Zeitnot now start to warm up to the game. He's starting to really feel himself, and he's got those kills now in the back pocket. So if he gets that money spent even more so, he's the player you have to look at as the standing defiance against the opponents of Evos here.
Yeah, he's the beacon of hope right now for them. And this right now, this is the tournament lives for Supermassive. They lose this, they are out. They cannot get that group stage. They cannot actually have that kind of group stage playing by into Worlds, and then that would once again potentially go to Vietnam.
Yeah, and of course GBM in this replay just dies extremely quickly. And of course you get to watch YiJin's perspective of this. Annihilated.
It's collateral damage, for sure. I think intentional target at that point. And here, the good news is that when they get these opportunities, Supermassive do play them well. The early flash from Zeitnot looks good, and the play just continues.
Exactly, and Zeitnot's placing traps this entire time. He's free to hit. fabFab's in front. You've got the Olaf in front as well. And GBM's even there to contribute as we're back, we're fighting.
Ornn comes out, he's going to knock up GBM. Moving through the rest of the team, trying to take down multiple targets. Everybody is alive, but SnowFlower set to fall. Caitlyn getting shut down by the Graves. YiJin is cutting through the entire lineup. He may just turn his focus to GBM. Stomaged wants to keep going. He wants a little bit more. The flash forward. He's feeling himself. The triple. He's cutting down.
Let's go, YiJin on the stage. The triple kill, 8-1 and 4. He is going off.
Still pushing now, going forwards. EVS at the very least will get themselves inhibs. fabFabulous is alive. It's very early into the game, so you take the inhibs, you back away, but a massive lead now for them. It goes up to 10,000.
And the Baron, I believe they go and rush the Baron right now. 5 men strong right here for the VCS. YiJin leading the charge, diving in. This guy is at 11,000 gold. He has the most in the entire game, and he is 5,000 ahead of the other jungler.
Absolute insanity. The execution here in these fights, every single one of them, seems to be going in the favor of Evos. One misstep here or there, but the rest of the game absolutely controlled. SnowFlower walking forward, taking risks here, but Supermassive 11K down, gentlemen. 20 minutes into this game, standing up against a Baron buff Evos. It almost feels insurmountable.
It all starts once again with Stark going forwards. Warzone as well flashing, but it's YiJin who finds the Caitlyn and is able to kill him before he deals damage. The last fight they lost was Zeitnot free to farm against the enemy champions. But it's not just that. He doesn't stop when a traditional jungler tends to stop. He flashes in and he keeps going.
Yeah, he has that CDR, he has the red buff, he has all of the damage behind him. And you can see they are hyped for the way this game is going. And now Supermassive, I said they had to get desperate. Look at that. It's completely shut down by the Ashe.
SnowFlower wants to get the hook, does manage to get it. Maybe they can take down Warzone. Maybe this is the pick that they need. Warzone's still alive, but does get taken out in the end. Ashe trying to disrupt, but it's just a goal in the end as it goes between double drops for Stomaged.
Now they have to tend to their side lanes. It's going to be Ornn pushing bottom. YiJin's going to kind of shadow him and make sure that there's no push in mid. So there's no objective reward here for Supermassive.
Now YiJin, what is he doing?
Oh, here comes the Ornn ulti. So he's gonna go for it! No! Oh my god, goodbye! That's not a Kha'Zix, that's a Graves, baby. In the middle of everything, the shotgun hitting home melee range, and he is not concerned, but he should be. The shutdown comes through from GBM. Stark still trying to turn this fight, still trying to keep it going. Meanwhile, Slay is pushing on the top side. Supermassive grasping at straws, just trying to kill the Ornn, but he still makes it out. Stark, the hook from SnowFlower may be enough. They go over, GBM healing up. Mantra's the snare, gets the healing. They're gonna take him down, but Slay is breaking the base.
They just went 2 for 2 in a 2v5. That is insanity.
The assassin in the bush as well. They get a turret in the top lane. They start to break the base after 2 of them get caught out of position.
How?
From a moment when that should never exist, they find the spot where there's no vision from Supermassive, and the greedy pathing from Supermassive gets them punished.
And that's the thing where we talk about like the Kha'Zix for YiJin, the 26 bans, the undefeated record for him. He's playing his Graves like it's a Kha'Zix when he chills in the bush. Right here, that's that first kill onto the Cassiopeia. Then they have the Alistar fall down. And then when they go through, it's a legitimate 2v5 that comes out here.
You can just tell Supermassive been so dominant, the region dominant on the stage. They're just not ready for this kind of play. I don't think anyone is.
Who does this play? How do you practice against that?
I don't think you make it this far into a scrim against a Fed Graves. I just don't think you're ready for this.
That's insane. Of course, he crits in his first 2 auto attacks as well. Effectively 2 hit the Caitlyn. And you can tell SnowFlower's playing out of his mind on this Thresh. We're back.
He's trying. YiJin in the middle of everybody once again. Now he has to try to run. The Olaf going to try to chase him down. 3-level difference. YiJin unafraid. Look at that damage. Warzone getting in the ult. Zeitnot running for his life, but YiJin completely undeterred. The damage coming through. Slay is off to the side. Eyes on the Ashe. What can she get done? GBM trying to zone the rest of Evos. Ooh. Looking to bring it home. Forcing flashes out and barreling down this bottom lane.
Still pushing forwards as well. The Baron buff for 20 more seconds. This is the last wave for them to go, and they should be able to secure themselves a second inhibitor.
Supermassive, 5-1 in the group, top the group, look like the best team in play-ins. They drew Evos and said, thank God it's not the LMS, but right now, Vietnam is saying, oh, it's a repeat of last year.
Exactly what they wanted. Fans worried, could they carry on the legacy of the Gigabyte Marines? They might even be doing one better. YiJin and the rest of the team, eyes on the prize. He will give his life for this one, but the rest of the team is focusing down. Nexus now set to fall. Supermassive, a desperate stand. Slay continues to auto-attack. They need to get the Ashe. SnowFlower, desperate to make a play, but that's gonna do it! Evos earn their place on the group stage. They take down Supermassive. 3-0 the prediction. Goes the other way. 3-1 in the favor of Vietnam.
A repeat of last year. Vietnam took down Turkey 3-1 courtesy of the Gigabyte Marines. This year, they don't just prove they can do it again, they prove they can do it with a different team.
Yeah, as history repeats itself, it is a brand new team, Zyrene. You're absolutely right, but we see some new stars in the making once again. A team that does beat the Gigabyte Marines to get here. And on the back of their jungler, Warzone stepping up from 2 years ago to what we expected. And Stark's teleport plays, their team fighting. It all comes together in that 4th game.
A beautiful performance to be sure. Our crowd, big fans of the VCS representatives. Vietnam can be proud too. Doesn't matter if you take Levi away, doesn't matter if you split up the Gigabyte Marines. Top town for Vietnam, continuing to show their dominance on an international stage, saying we deserve this spot up there with the best.
And my favorite part about this victory was it was one that goes against the stylistic meta. People are saying play through mid and bottom lane. YiJin, the most damage in the game by far, obliterated multiple games back to back showed that you can carry from the jungle, that you can still do it, and that it is a viable strategy here.
And we saw a start. TP's down, sets his jungler up for success, just gets to take a step back and watch him go. Says, hey, I'll throw an Ornn into this fight. How about you two-shot a Caitlyn?
Yeah. I mean, you even think back to before that fact, when they go into the blue buff, they go to the jungle, they try and take him down. The whole team collapses to keep their jungle alive. Not even their jungler, the jungle alive for their jungler to secure, to keep him in it.
And honestly, I'm just stunned, because I think I make fun of the desk, but you're so convinced after the Supermassive performance in the play-in stage, in the groups, that they were strong, they were unstoppable, but Vietnam continues to show up.
I think a little bit like the LMS years ago, where it was, hey, these guys, every time they're the underdogs coming into the matchup, they're going to get beat. And then time and time again, the LMS came out on top. And here, that's looking like the same story, as Vietnam is being overlooked both times. Gigabyte Marines came in, even when the Gigabyte Marines came into Worlds, they went 2-4 in their group, and Immortals had to get knocked out. And that's a big part of the fact that Vietnam is underestimated time and time again, and now they're showing it's a serious region, it's not just a handful of players.
I think a lot of this is play to your style as well, you know, they didn't change their style of play coming into this, they stayed true to what made them successful, something that you have to do, where it felt like Supermassive were playing a little bit more at the tempo of the VCS side. They didn't really have any counterplay available, it was too fast for them to handle.
Well, also a lot of teams, a lot of regions go, we're gonna copy Korea's style. It may not be what works for us because of our mechanical players or whatnot. It's, hey, we got to play this style. It's the optimal League of Legends. We see time and time again that Vietnam come in and say, no, we're just going to play Vietnam League of Legends. It just happens to be a little bit more aggressive, a little faster, and it is damn effective.
It's so good.
It is. And of course, always a pleasure to see Vietnamese League of Legends come out on top. Well, that's enough from us. Let's send it to Medic and see what Stark thinks after making it to groups.
Thank you very much, Dracos. I am joined by Stark. Congratulations on your win. I want to ask you, because this is the first time we've had Vietnam as a separate region coming into an international event. What does it mean to you to take Vietnam to groups?
Đầu tiên là xin chúc mừng chiến thắng của đội. Và đây là lần đầu tiên mà em thi đấu với tư cách là đại diện của một khu vực độc lập. Việt Nam vừa được tách ra thành một khu vực độc lập. Thì cái điều đó có ý nghĩa như thế nào với em khi mà em vừa giúp cho Việt Nam vào vòng bảng?
Thì là khi mà tách ra được một khu vực riêng thì bọn em có cơ hội vào sâu hơn ở đấu trường thế giới, nên là cái khu vực nó cạnh tranh nhiều hơn và bọn em phải cố gắng nhiều hơn, cũng như là có nhiều nguồn đầu tư để giúp bọn em luyện tập dễ dàng.
So when Vietnam become an independent region, it means we have a bigger chance to go deeper into the international tournament, and there will be a lot more competition. So we have to try harder, but at the same time, it gives us a lot more sponsor and facility for us to do really well.
Because last year you took Gigabyte Marines into groups as well by beating Supermassive. After that, you took a short retirement and then you've come back to Evos. What is it about Evos that made you want to come back to League of Legends?
Mùa trước thì em thi đấu cho GAM và em cũng đánh bại Supermassive. Mùa này thậm chí là em vừa làm điều đó mà nhanh hơn nữa. Nhưng mà sau đó thì em rời khỏi GAM một khoảng thời gian. Em nghĩ một khoảng thời gian sau đó em mới đến với Evos. Thì lý do gì mà em quyết định là chọn Evos khi mà em đang quyết định là tạm nghỉ, đúng không? Mà lý do gì Evos đã khiến em quay lại với Liên minh điện thoại?
Lúc mà em rời bỏ GAM thì thực sự là em có ý định đi học. Nhưng khi mà Slay rủ em vào một team nào để đánh giải thì trong bản thân em lại muốn là chưa thi đấu chưa đủ và mình muốn thể hiện thêm nhiều hơn. Thì khi đó Evos đã liên hệ em và em quyết định vào.
So after I left GAM, I actually wanted to go back to school, but then Slay asked me, "Do you want to join a team?" And I think that I haven't shown enough of myself, and I want to show the world more of me, so I came back.
Well, you're definitely showing the world a lot at the moment. I want to ask, as a team, Evos, you went through the promotion tournament, you got into the VCS, and then you won the VCS as well to get here to MSI. How far do you think you can progress here at MSI?
Cái hành trình của Evos đó là vòng thăng hạng VCS, sau đó vào VCS, rồi vô địch. Bây giờ vượt qua được cái vòng khởi động này mà vào vòng bảng. Vậy thì bây giờ em nghĩ như thế nào về cơ hội sắp tới của Evos tại MSI này?
Bởi vì là em nghĩ thì trình độ của bọn em vẫn còn chưa tới các khu vực khác, nhưng nếu bọn em có cố gắng và tập luyện đủ nhiều thì hành trình có thể leo tới top 4.
So actually, right now, I feel that our team hasn't come close enough to the major region. But if we try high enough the rest of the tournament, I think we can reach top 4.
Okay, so which major region are you going to beat to reach top 4?
Vậy thì cái khu vực nào mà em nghĩ rằng Evos sẽ đánh bại để vào top 4?
Em nghĩ là ngoài Hàn và Trung thì tất cả các khu vực còn lại đều có thể.
So, besides from China and Korea, we can beat the rest.
Oh, that's some big words right there. Congratulations on your win today. We're going to hand it back across towards the analyst desk.
Thank you very much, Medic. They just put on a show, Evos. They were not the favorites, according to our analysts at least, and to a lot of people we talked to, because we didn't know what to expect. And what we got was aggression, but was cleanliness in finishing out games and snowballing almost to perfection.
Individually, they perform so damn confidently.
Yep.
And we had so many questions to players like Warzone that came out competitively and it didn't come out. But you know what? Today, that was a lesson already proven wrong.
Yeah, absolutely. We're talking about a team that is so decisive. You see the collapse that come out, the use of summoner spells, and you can see the panic that it instilled in Supermassive time and time again. This was a team that was just reeling. They had no answers, Raz.
And I was flabbergasted too. Like literally just going down the players. Like Stomaged was trying to keep up. YiJin was just tracing every single damn player down. I don't even know what to say. I just want to watch this again and again. I really do. He was so fed. 8 kills. Like, I'm not even talking about the CS. Before this game even happened, it was like 40 CS ahead of Stomaged. And then he went lane to lane into the enemy jungle, and he just stole so much. The best thing about this, like I remember, like to even get into this, because in China, it feels like every player aspires to be Uzi, so you get a lot of amazing, incredible AD carries.
Yep.
And then no matter how much talent we take away from YiJin, or at least from Vietnam, you get players like YiJin. SOFM was the major one that people look up to and aspire to in Vietnam. And then you get Levi and now YiJin. It's insane.
Yeah, the way he just bullied Stomaged, yes,
yeah.
but the rest of that team as well. And it's not just that it was a one-off, right? It was 2 games in a row now on Graves, which seems to be power pick, by the way. But he just crushed it, and they didn't stop. And I think the fact that they were so good individually, they trumped Supermassive players, and they could just overrun them, just shut down Supermassive completely. And this is actually what we see time and time again from strong Vietnamese squads.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, his Graves were great in those 2 games, but let's not forget that his tank play on the Trundle was also phenomenal. This guy isn't a one-trick. We haven't even seen his best champion, which is Kha'Zix. I mean, that was a little Kha'Zix flavor right there, popping out of a brush and one shot and an 80 carry, but I love the team's confidence in him. I love the fact that they give resources to this guy. That's something that you have to be flexible as a team. Yeah, maybe he just took them for himself, but he was just like taking first turrets, like sharing gold on every turret, going to lanes, shoving it in. And the early games, it looked like frustrations. The late game, it just looked like this is the tempo they want to play at.
And it's a lot of faith in the individual players, because not only are they giving a lot towards YiJin, but also he was able to come out and help out Warzone, because Warzone had played that lane so well that he just goes out, zones GBM off of the entire wave, takes the first turret. Yeah, like the guy is insane. So this team is definitely the team to look out for. Now, I don't know about EU and NA, but apparently they're confident enough to take them both down. Yeah, they don't give a damn.
If we talk about sending a message, YiJin in that last game, 62 CSD up over Stomaged at 15 minutes. 924 damage per minute for a jungler throughout the whole game. Most damage in the game by far. This is really a standout signal. And then we got to talk about the next step. What is this? I don't want to keep bringing up the Gigabyte Marines because I want to give Evos the praise that they deserve themselves. But the similarities between these 2 stories are immense, and the pride that they are bringing to the Vietnamese region is also huge.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, when you have a look at the juxtaposition, you have a player like Archie on the Gigabyte Marines that was around forever, was role swapping around, had been subbed out. He comes in, he looks like a genuinely superstar support. You got someone like Warzone, 0-7 up until this point in international competition. Comes out, throws the gauntlet at GBM, and then absolutely pops off game after game. You have to love like the juxtaposition this creates.
We also have an interview with Warzone standing by, and I for
wanna hear
one,
that.
I want to hear it.
cannot
hear
wait
that.
what he has to say. So let's hear it. Medic, talk to Warzone.
I'm joined by Warzone, the victorious mid laner. Now, Warzone, congratulations on the win. I want to start off by saying this is the first time we've seen Vietnam represented as an individual region here at MSI and at international events. What does it mean to you to represent Vietnam and to take them to groups?
Đầu tiên thì xin chúc mừng đội với chiến thắng vừa rồi. Và đây là lần đầu tiên em thi đấu ở đấu trường quốc tế với tư cách là đại diện của một khu vực độc lập, là Việt Nam đã trở thành khu vực độc lập. Thì điều đó có cái ý nghĩa như thế nào đối với em?
Thực sự thì đây là lần thứ 3 mình đi đấu trường quốc tế rồi. Nhưng ở năm 2016, đồng đội cũ của mình đã thất bại trước SUPerMassive khá là đáng tiếc. Nên lần này thực sự là mình gặp SUPerMassive, thực sự là mình rất muốn trả thù luôn. Thì mình cũng cảm ơn tất cả những người đồng đội mình đã cùng mình để trả cái mối thù năm xưa của mình khi ra ngoài thế giới 007.
I've been to many international tournaments, but this one is special. And back when 2016, I have a crushing defeat against SUPerMassive. So this time when I know that we're gonna face them, I really want to take revenge. And he want to thank like the community for supporting Evos.
So you talked about your previous international experiences. You have struggled on the international stage before. What changed for you that meant you could play so well this series?
Em vừa nói rằng những cái kết quả đáng thất vọng ở những cái giải quốc tế quá khứ. Vậy thì điều gì đã thay đổi để em có thể có được kết quả tốt ngày hôm nay?
Em nghĩ là thực sự thì năm 2016 thì lúc đó là một phần là do thời tiết khá lạnh nên lúc nào em qua nước ngoài em cũng bị sốt. Và phần thứ hai thì em nghĩ là vấn đề sức khỏe rất quan trọng. Nên em đã thay đổi, em đi tập gym, tập workout để có thể thay đổi cơ thể và cũng như là cái tâm lý của mình.
My last international tournament, the weather was really bad. It was extremely cold and I got a fever all the time. And after that tournament, I realized that I have to strengthen my body. So I go to the gym often, I work out a lot, and that works out really well for me.
It definitely seems to be working out for you. I want to ask a little bit about your rivalry with GBM, because we heard in the initial video that you were flaming him a little bit. You said that he was only Diamond 2. What was it about that rivalry that really drove you to succeed?
Trong cái phần phỏng vấn á, người ta muốn hỏi về cái mối quan hệ giữa em và GBM. Thì ở trong cái phần phỏng vấn thì em nói chung là trash talk GBM, rồi nói anh ta chỉ là kim cương 2 thôi. Vậy thì cái động lực nào để em trash talk như vậy và để em thi đấu mạnh mẽ đến như vậy trước GBM?
Thực sự thì em cảm giác là đánh ở răng EO này thì khá là dễ dàng hơn là răng Việt Nam và răng Hàn Quốc. Thì em đã check thử tài khoản của anh ta ở bên EO thì thấy anh ta Diamond 2 thì mình cảm thấy là có lẽ anh ta đã đứng trên rồi và anh ta sẽ không bắt kịp với mình nữa.
So I feel when I play EU solo queue, I think it's way easier than Vietnam and Korea rank. And I went to check the account of GBM and I saw that he's only Diamond 2. So khúc sau em nói sorry.
Em thấy là anh ta không thể bắt kịp trên độ với em nữa. Nên em tự tin có thể đánh bại anh ta.
So I thought he's reached his ceiling and I can beat him easily.
So you think you're still climbing past your ceiling. How far do you think you can make it at MSI?
Như vậy có vẻ là em đang thấy rằng cái tầm của mình vẫn còn có thể phát triển lên được nữa tại MSI này. Như vậy em nghĩ rằng em sẽ đi sâu đến mức nào tại MSI này?
Em muốn vào top 4 để em có thể hit đất 1.500 cái.
So I want to reach top 4 and when I do that, I will do 1,000 push-ups.
Well, good luck. I look forward to watching those push-ups. Back to you guys.
Thank you very much, Medic. 1,000, I feel like I read somewhere that it was 1,500 just because he did 1,000 after winning in the VCS over the Gigabyte Marine. So he's got to up the ante. Top 4, 3,000 push-ups.
Wait a minute. That dude's jacked.
Yeah,
And
just
also
kidding.
another
Yeah.
good example of how having a healthy body equals healthy mind. I love more of these players, like starting to figure out the psychology aspect of it and making sure that it's just not all grinding, you're actually getting out there and doing other stuff. What a great model for role model for people.
Exactly, especially also bringing up the fact that internationally he hadn't done well. He was always playing second fiddle to Optimus in Vietnam, for instance, and he wasn't doing well. And now he's kind of taken a new vision. He's taken a new lease on the professional life, going to the gym, playing well, beating GBM, getting to group stage. Fantastic story from Warzone.
The product is just the confidence that he has on the Rift. Like, pure confidence, rotating constantly. You saw what he did to GBM when he was getting dived repeatedly. He was keeping himself in the lane consistently. So the man looks good. Going in towards the MSI main stage, I don't know how else, it looks
Let's talk
better.
about it. We got to talk about it, because this flash in the pan, as we called it, from the Gigabyte Marines, netted them wins at MSI, made so that they could go to the World's group stage, and just did great things for them. And just as an aside, with Evos winning here, if the Flash Wolves win tomorrow, that means that Vietnam is going straight to the group stage of Worlds 2018, whoever's the winner in summer. So a lot on the line. Actually, they already did their part, right? Now it's up to Flash Wolves to win tomorrow. But they're just doing so many things well. But the question is, can they get to that top 4?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, well, when we had a look at this group, we said that Supermassive won their group a lot cleaner than what Gambit did. So if that is what the first team coming into the knockout phases looks like, and people were more scared of Flash Wolves than this lineup, all of a sudden it gets really interesting. I think that if you are going to attack two teams, you may as well go on EU and NA, because historically they haven't had the same results. But I mean, the aggressive jungle styling will actually throw a lot of teams off guard, I think. So this is going to be a team, especially in best of one, that can get some work done.
And historically, you already mentioned that the aggressive jungle styles, what slipped people up in group stage. So for me, I'm looking at Team Liquid, I'm looking at Fnatic as teams that will give up a win or two in the group stage itself. When it comes to the best of 5, the question is not, can they win a best of 5? That's later down the line, and my answer is no to start. But right now, when it comes to the group stage, they will take a victory over one of these teams.
I'm just going to fan the fire a little bit, because obviously NA and EU are traditionally worse than definitely Korea and China. But why is it that in a best of 1, you have so much faith in both RNG and Kingzone then that they wouldn't slip up?
So I think if they play Casa, this 100% could go in the favor of Evos still. I think the thing that I want to see is when he plays against Peanut, MLXG. Because then when you got Fire going at Fire, and you got like the best in the business at aggressive jungling, especially out of MLXG in current form, that will be an exciting matchup. That is when YiJin puts himself like in there with everyone else.
That's his chance to become a legend. How much do you want to put forward that they're going to beat at least NA and at least EU once? Is that 100% certainty?
Yeah, I'm just going to say it.
Look, I'm not that confident. Go out there with authority.
Look, I ain't confident in anything anymore, all right? I will say this for certain. Remember, Peanut went up against Albus Nox Luna's aggressive style at Worlds, and while they didn't lose, it was very damn close. So this style works. Tried and true, best of 1, it's going to slip someone up. So it's a good call-out saying that it can work versus RNG or Kingzone, perhaps. Someone is going to fall. Someone's on that list.
I mean, the last 2 years, people have fallen. INTZ took people down. Albus Nox Luna did. Then GAM took people down. The last 2 years of this kind of competition, playing region teams have actually done a lot of damage.
They have done a lot of damage, but then they've never gotten past that point, right? And now they're saying straight up, we want to make it to top 4. That is now a goal. So do you think Evos can do that?
Shoot for the moon. If you don't hit it, you land on some nice soft clouds. I don't think they can do it. I think that, however, you have to have that attitude if you're going to set yourself up to do it. And one win early on in a group stage could actually create some momentum, and potentially that's when anything can happen.
Yeah, I agree holistically. Remember, day ones in a lot of these best of 1 group stages, in play-ins, in MSI, in Worlds, we've seen it kind of dictate the mentality for a lot of these teams in day 2. Start strong. I don't think it's going to happen, but I've been proven wrong a lot of times this week.
And the other thing to remember is whilst so have I. Whilst this team is a brand new team, they just came in through the promotion system. They've got so many veterans on them. These are guys that have played League of Legends for 3+ years, apart from 2 roles. So I think that they do also have what it takes to stay level-headed, because they did drop a game in this series and came out and did not take a step backwards.
So if anything, They're going to bring some fire to the group stage. They're going to light a match under those teams. And YiJin, hopefully, is going to do as well as he did here. We will see, but we still need to get that second team and the final team to join us for the MSI group stage. And we'll find out who it will be between the Flash Wolves and Gambit Esports tomorrow. Let me just see. Show starts at 1 p.m. Central European Summer Time. That is 4 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time. But I do want to take a minute to talk about this matchup. Because as said before, if everyone said that Supermassive is going to beat Evos easily, a lot of people are saying that Gambit is not going to get past the Flash Wolves. And just to get people up to speed, the Flash Wolves, even though some members have left, they still crushed the LMS completely. They 3-0'd the finals. They only dropped 2 games in their regular season. So in terms of record, it feels like the same old Flash Wolves.
Yeah, for me, while it is the same old Flash Wolves, a lot of it comes down to the fact that the competition within the region has shortened down significantly. It was just between them and G-Rex. So that's where my question comes in, that you look at Flash Wolves and statistically they are balling. They're actually doing incredibly well, but I'm looking at it and I actually just think that Gambit, I'm not saying they're going to take it. I think it goes down to 4 games that Flash Wolves do win. It's going to be competitive.
Yeah, and you say that, you know, they're not in the deepest region. Well, like, reality check is that they were never in a deep region. I mean, whilst Flash Wolves AHQ looked good, J-Team had like a split of brilliance. Apart from that, LMS has looked rather shallow. And this is the team that internationally, even when AHQ were a little bit dominant, Flash Wolves were the team that could take it internationally and play against those teams like Korea and China incredibly well. So I still have high hopes for this lineup. You know, they've still got the same core of Sora and Maple. Maple not the best 2017, but he did want to be the carry of the team when Castle was there. And I think this is an opportunity for him to now prove on the international stage that that is the case.
Opportunity is going to be a big one because there are new players in that respect. The fact that YiJin and now Hanabi are going to be making their stake in an international stage, and I'm going to be...
Stake, yeah.
That's true, I got
He left too as well.
He's gone too. But yeah, a lot of people are going to be coming in there and they're going to be making a name for themselves. And perhaps this is where they also
are reinvigorated because the 100%. Flash Wolves, they find themselves in the second round of play-in because LMS and the Flash Wolves did not do so well, right? Or as well as they had in the past last year. So as you say, they could be reinvigorated with these 2 new players.
Absolutely. And I think that one thing all the analysts agreed on was that with the current iteration of Flash Wolves that we saw, they had reached their peak. They had done as much damage as they were going to do. If they did not change something, then they were not going to be able to punch through that ceiling. So I think that the new players do come out with that. We've talked about it before, the cocky swagger, kind of what we saw in today's game. And I think that that is the kind of attitude you need to, you know, boost these veterans into trying to get through that.
Yeah, injection of aggression. We needed that from Flash Wolves because we saw them with having perfect early games. If they still have that, if they still retain that early game, like with or without Karsa, then I think that that's a good change from them.
And LeBlanc's changes have been reverted. And
Maple.
The last time we saw Maple on that champion, it was sexy.
Then he stole a kill FLICKR. I don't remember exactly, but he was crushing it on LeBlanc, so maybe we see that come out. So I'm hearing a lot of Flash Wolves is the favorite in this one. So if Gambit takes this series, how is it? Through who? Through what lane?
I would say through Diamond Prox. I think Diamond Prox has showcased in day 2 that he's been a strong member for the team. And that if we're going into this setting, there are still questions on YiJin and how strong he's going to be coming into this one. And I think Diamond Prox right now has been making some, you know, taking some names.
I like it, but I'm going to throw the rookie out there. I think that Lodic, they've put a lot of resources into him. The one thing that I didn't like about Betty is that some of his rotations are very slow. Sometimes he gets caught in side lanes. He doesn't make the most intelligent plays sometimes, Raz. And when I have a look over at what Gambit's AD carry is doing, it's been very impressive so far. Maybe they think they have to attack someone like Eddie or Diamond Prox. Maybe he starts getting the things like Kai'Sa and he can step up and carry.
So predictions for tomorrow, let me guess, 3-1 Flash Wolves. Raz?
Yep. Yeah, I said that. Technically, I said 4 games, so that's the only way that come out of that one.
Because the 3-1 prediction is kind of like the wimp prediction.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like
Wait a second.
Because it's like, I know this team is going to win, but, you know, I also know that the other team might pick up a game, so it feels like a 3-1.
Let me say why it's going to be a 3-1, because even though I have Flash Wolves taking the lead, remember all of day 1 was Gambit coming out with new compositions, and they immediately went back on the grind in terms of scrims, so there's going to be something new, specifically from Kira or just from top side. I don't know. All I'm saying right now, we're going to be seeing a new strategy come through, and it's going to give some time for Flash Wolves to adapt, and I do believe they will adapt.
I love it. I put you on the spot, and you explained exactly why. Spawn?
I think that the last time Kira played like world-class international talent, he kind of fell over. So I think that Maple is world-class. That guy's a jet. Everyone knows that I've always been a huge fan of him. So I'm going to go out again with the 3-0 clean.
Yeah,
of course.
Yeah. Look at
So
this
yeah,
guy.
3-0 Flash Wolves.
Roast this man.
In the end, if you guys at least get the winner right,
I would
not
be
even the
happy
game
at this
score, I
stage.
mean, you're doing a lot better than you have done. So we'll see. Good stuff. Thank you guys for joining me. 4 games, 4 interesting games, and a fantastic showing from Evos, who find themselves in the MSI group stage. We'll see if it's Flash Wolves or Gambit that join them tomorrow. That'll be it here from us in Berlin. Thank you guys very much for watching, and join us tomorrow for Gambit versus the Flash Wolves in a best of 5. See you then.
Stomaged trying to buy a bit of time. RonOP has left the pit. Kendrick can. She's fighting away. The Baron is going to heal up. They're going to try to take him down, but it's Trundle left on his left. Desir getting it in the end. Not enough to take it home, ladies and gentlemen. Game 1 going in the favor of Evos. That's how they want to start it. Dropping for Evos as the play continues. Trundle getting one. Warzone on the side. Zeitnot in trouble. SnowFlower. But a beautiful use of the Titanic will bring home the kill. SnowFlower hungry for blood. Look at him go. Gets it in the end. A 2 for 3 to get the kill back. Stark buying so much time. Here comes Warzone. GBM is going to have to back off. He's going through the pool. Oh, he's not going to get it. Warzone!
Please.
Taking a kill on the Trundle just to buff the stats, but Supermassive fire back in game 2. Wants to fire back, just trying to sidestep the kill. Now Stomaged maybe gets another one. Oh my god, outplayed. What is Supermassive doing?
I think GBM has just lost his mind for a second there.
Trying to close this game out. GBM runs for his life. Slay says not a chance. Triple quadra. The bounce house and the quadra for Slay. 2-1 for Evos as they just cut through the Supermassive lineup. Ornn comes out, is going to knock up GBM. To the rest of the team trying to take down YiJin. Everybody is alive, but SnowFlower set to fall. Caitlyn getting shot down by the Graves. YiJin is cutting through the entire lineup. He may just turn his focus to GBM. Stomaged going to get going.